This weekend is the premiere of Monica Pearson One-on-One. Of course, we have her in studio right now. I don't have to tell you, Monica is an Atlanta news legend who's come out of retirement to do what she does best. She is interviewing famous faces, finding out who they are at their essence. And her first guest, a big one, former Atlanta mayor and UN ambassador Andrew Young. Monica, you talked to his family.
Yes, Robin, thank you for having me. I talked to his family and they told me a lot about Andy that I didn't know. But most importantly, they told me about their family history, which is really important to them.
These are Andrew Young's children. They are from a long line of successful people on both sides of their family. Andy's grandfather, Franklin Young, was born in 1860.
I remember when I was elected to Congress, I went to New York. And I met Gardner Taylor, and I had not met him before. And he said, "You're from Louisiana, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You related to old man Frank Young?" I said, "That was my grandfather." And he said, "He sure would be proud of you." He said, "But you got a long way to go to catch up with him." Now here I am, the first black congressman in 100 years. And he says, I got a long way to go to catch up with my grandfather from the country.
It's important to the sort of Andrew Young story to understand that it's generations that created the person he was able to be. My dad has become sort of the most famous of those people, but that tradition precedes him by many generations, and we will continue it for future generations. I mean, our children will continue to be people who, try to make it better for
well, it's
the people
like you said,
around
to
them.
have a personal sense of obligation to make the world around you better.
It is the family tradition and business.
Gosh, his family just as impressive as him, and that's saying a lot. We know what he did in his career.
And when you think about his grandfather in the 1860s, Andy told me had amassed what would be equivalent to $1 billion today because he was an accountant. And
That's
think
amazing.
about in that time period. And by the way, all the things you saw in that piece, you will not see in our piece on Sunday at 8 o'clock on Peachtree TV, because we had so much video. We ended up having to split it into other stories, but there will be no repeats.
Mr. Andrew Young is living history. I'm sure you learned some things, and that's what you've talked about your show and your interviews that you like, is learning something yourself. Is there anything that surprised you that you may not have known?
Yes. The thing that surprised me most, and that I think is really relevant to people today, is to see the problems he had with his dad, talking about what his father wanted him to be and what he wanted to be and how to navigate that.
It really is an amazing thing. People across all generations can relate to that, right? It happened then. It's still happening today with your parents. Everybody knows that. Monica, thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to see your show. Monica Pearson One-on-One debuts this Sunday, like she said, February 27th at 8 p.m. on Peachtree TV.